Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
This interesting theory, my Tisankophobia can some repeat in terms of say, yes, that analogy about stealing.
Yeah.
So it is more or less, the people are asking for stealing to be legalized.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Legitimized.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew's argument, quite well. Now, on the surface, that is superficially, that analogy appears to have some substance, and I say superficially. But with a deeper assessment of what the issue we are dealing with now, we say analogy be so mechanical and oversimplified and ought not to be entertained in the level, the kind of discussion we are having. Issue now a war. Okay? This thing about political parties, it violated the law. And I'm sure that's where the analogy is coming from. On the when we violated the law as well as the constitution by sponsoring candidates for district
I would say by interfering.
Well, they are doing it covertly. I think we all agree to that.
Yeah.
I say don't get here as I'm not count 2010 Congress or so was Sunyani. Say NDC for captured about 60% or so of the district assembly we was a proof of the point I'm making. Said they do it covertly. Anything the amount for Eka say, if we see say by amend Article 55(3), then you are seeking to legitimize it, isn't it? To bring it back onto the fund ben I say a law. I think that's where I'm stealing assembly. I want to get that right.
Yeah, because the logic is that se bibi illegal na obi e busa mranoswa. You go for enforcement as remedy.
Fantastic.
You don't go for legalization.
Fantastic.
So as a political parties, we are not supposed to interfere in local government elections, and we are doing it. Let the law be enforced.
Yes,
sanction regime. But it is no justification to say that because some of us are breaching it, then it should be legalized. Because maybe the CPP and the other smaller parties are not breaching it.
I wanted this clarity as the basis for that argument. Said then for bringing in the analogy, and I think you've given me that clarity. Winning me here of this particular problem is that a political structure, there is a democratic deficit or a governance gap. That's the way I see it. What is that democratic deficit now and the governance gap now? And he say we appear to be comfortable with multi-partism and political parties existing by law and enabled say we won't take a part with national politics. So we call parliament we call presidency parties the same day. We are okay with that. In spite of some Kenya say a partisan, a corruption, a we appear to be comfortable. Say in terms of law, they are enabled and power political parties to run at the very top where the real power is in terms of executive power. What you are saying? Now another law down there. The only thing, remember this party see won't go.
Yeah.
Me see a question of a governance gap and a democratic deficit. My view is as hard two challenges here cannot be remedied by what you call law enforcement. It's in a year done. Anything I say don't get to me public space openly. No claiming say 60% or so you won't go for. It amounted to obvious violation of the law, telling people that look, and was law and Susana achieve.
Not very sure whether they are still doing Ketia.
Oh, yeah, it's documented. I'll come to it.
Okay.
I'll come to it. He said so.
The interpretation you're putting on it, I think, is a problem. Because MPP members also contest for assembly elections.
They are all guilty of that.
NDC contest.
I'm bringing that Sedun Ketia to the
forward. So, the clarification I'm giving is after the contest, though non-partisan, we can count and say NDC members who stood on their own merit and won. 500 or 600, but to interpret it as meaning strictly say it means it was a party who sponsored all those people who constituted the 60%. You know, I think maybe a bit too.
Freeway interpretation of convenience by Sami.
Oh, I'm bringing all the sides.
Yeah. So you've done your interpretation. That's the one that suits your case. That's the point I'm making. It's an interpretation of convenience. It suits you to use that to rationalize what Sedun Ketia said. But what you can't run away from that, in substance, we all know the parties are doing what we say the law doesn't enable them. And they are violating the law. You agree?
I agree. That's fact. That's true. That's true.
This time, NDC, every person they perceive to be NDC and contest assembly, they've given the person 1,000 Ghana cedis.
Hey, where are we going to get that money from?
Anyway, don't do
that, Sampai. 1,000 cedis per 7,000. Nana, let me say
the problematic nature of this phenomenon, this what I see as a governance gap, a democratic deficit, and idea and lending itself for straight law enforcement. So what you do is to seek a constitutional remedy, and then the amendment process is in the board. You seek to do constitutional re-engineering, institutional restructuring within the constitution. If you decide to use the police method, look, there'll be absolute chaos.
Oh, no police.
No, by criminal law enforcement.
Fines.
No,
punishments.
No, law enforcement. Yes. I said police.
Okay.
Taking.
Okay. In that broad
yes.
way.
Law enforcement. And you're practicable. And you're sustainable. And looking into the long term, this country is not yet going to die. We are not ever going to die. We are going to go forward. And we have to keep improving and reforming. The solution does not lie in enforcing, using law enforcement strictly the way I'm hearing the legalization of stealing analogy.
Banco, we've been able to do it to civil servants, public servants, and enforcement. Different
challenges sometimes bring different remedies. I have identified this one. I'm making my submission. Okay. Say it amounts to a democratic deficit, a governance gap. And if you want to cure that mischief, and you decide that enforce the law, indeed, it's impracticable. Until they bring in the analogy of, then you are asking us to legitimize stealing. That's an oversimplification. It ignores the fact that the problem we are dealing with a different context and yet the same as stealing. So you bring the two together, you are confusing the issues. In fact, perhaps deliberately. No, I'm not talking of you as a person, but don't forget you are part of that school of thought. They created distortion and misrepresentation, a certain kakamo to be, and they've invited us to come and interrogate it from that angle. I'm unable to do so. And you know why? Sampai tried, or the elements need shame, and he was right in terms of the history behind this whole debate today. District Assembly, now, your abeshe, your political wing, yes, you new in terms of local government or decentralization. It's not new. For the major departure in our history was 1952, when the new local government reforms came on board. The whole native authorities ni free when mukra. What you say? Over the years, you hear all sorts of improvements. Yes, I will admit the 1987, 88, 89 PNDC also brought in some new elements. In fact, there were 65 district councils. What they did was they carved out 45 from it and added it and became 110, and then assemblies. Then in terms of election methodology, so one would the changes be. So yes, we can say safely, this case, young focus on from 1988 to be seen there. Now, okay, and Sampai was right. Time our warriors had the political parties had been outlawed. That's the 1987 ban. In fact, the whole process started from around 85 under the Justice Annan-led National Commission for Democracy, NCD. The parties had been outlawed. It was the PNDC dictatorship that was in place. It's the debate Piambaso as such, but all of them were proceeding on an anti-political party's agenda. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, and indeed, and then the power. If you hear about transition to the Fourth Republic, the whole debate started proper because if different groups are emerging. Will contest in terms of the content of the transition to the Fourth Republic. Okay? So some can't say who I mean true. This is the
who. They say
it's the same thing.
No, it doesn't mean the same.
Okay? This is the blue book, the famous blue book. Evolving a True Democracy. Summary of NCD's work towards the establishment of a new democratic order. Report presented to the PNDC. Justice Annan was the head of this chairman, or a vice chairman too of the PNDC. No, or headed the Amazi. Mr. Kwamna Ahoy was a member of this committee. Yeah. So many people are here. Justice Annan, Mr. T.K. Ajo, I'm the judge. Mr. Kwamna Ahoy, Georgina Badin. D.A. Kanga, Mobile Electoral Commission Deputy.
Kanga.
Nana Odru.
Georgina Badin from NAT.
Yes. Nana Odru Noma. Electoral Commission. And then A.K. Yankee, I think it was TUC.
TUC.
There are many names here, but I mentioned those names just to show the prominent nature of that work I want to hear. Oko section B, one listed as partisan and non-partisan politics. Some of the sentiments are informing the agenda then, and for that matter, the debate now an issue here. Some of us took part practically. We're not on the sidelines. Or say, one group made up predominantly of the representatives of the district assemblies, and they were majority in the consultative assembly as well. And an appreciable number of other bodies and individuals stated categorically the party politics had had its chance and failed, and therefore should not be allowed to return into the political fiber of the country. The main arguments they used to support this stand were: A, party politics in this country has the tendency of dividing the populace into opposing groups, leading to strife and bloodshed. The proponents of these arguments used the CPP-NLM era as a case in point and pointed out that if party politics were reintroduced into the country, such animosity and violence could not be ruled out. Party politics has led to the reinforcement of tribalism. Our political history has shown that membership of the political parties and the casting of votes for political parties have most of the time followed tribal lines, undermining nation building in the process. Thus, the NAL was typically pro-Ewe and the PP was pro-Akan. Tio. And some of these points, I may reinforce it.
No,
me be ready.
Okay.
I'm not talking of the earlier
Okay.
ones. Yes. This one,
and these were not their decisions or findings. They are only capturing submissions people made.
But look, I brought also the consultative assembly deliberations. And I brought it here. Okay, so you will see what went on.
Okay.
Or sit here, and some of the sentiments I may say are being expressed even here. Party politics has bred corruption. You said it in terms of monetization. The funding of political parties by individuals and organizations has in most cases been perceived as profit-making venture. The parties were indeed limited liability companies. This situation led to the past led in the past to a situation where winning parties concentrated on how to pay back loans or recoup expenses on elections.
The winner takes all.
Further, because of foreign sources of funding, party politics undermined allegiance to the state. Generally, party politics with this opposition is alien to the ethos of our society. Their conclusion, therefore, was that there should be no party politics in the country. This was the majority view of the district assemblies, who were in majority at the Consultative Assembly. And cadres. And this became a huge point of departure in terms of public debate.
Yeah. This brought so many clubs.
Yes.
Where we started fighting against this issue.
Then there was a compromise. Again, some pine hinted it. But I will tell you what happened. Eventually, both local and external factors, forces, combined to force the PNDC from this line. And that General Rollins Hanka's speech was to the extent a democracy one person what the Ghana was the Libyan type, where there are no parties, but one forming like district assemblies, regional assemblies, national assembly.
Yeah, representatives.
It's devoid of party politics and multi-partism, because these things are dangerous things. They are landmines.
Chinese model.
What about two system but unfortunately for them, the balance of forces were such that a man for Siyampini, until there was a compromise. And the compromise was this thing we are handling today. Superstructure allowed the parties in. It reduced tension. It took away the danger, threat elements for Ghana to at least proceed towards the Fourth Republic. But the opposing sides also were not sufficiently strong at that moment to ensure, say, the whole party system will go to the below. There was a historic compromise of a sort, unwritten though. Come on for praise, let the district assemblies remain non-partisan. How many years gone now? 27 or 26 years.
Has it worked or not?
I'm coming there. But you can't ask that simplistic question and expect a yes or no from me. You don't, and I'll explain. Okay? Argument, no course now. One three options, three options, Nini. Or see, a variant on the view to reintroduce party politics was that although there should be party politics, it should be limited to elections to the National Assembly and the presidency. Any structure below this should be contested for on a non-party basis and on the personal merit of the candidate. That's what we agreed on.
That's what we agreed on.
There was Mamiri the other
a very good decision.
No, let me say historic compromise. I even described it so. No, but I'm saying at that time, if we wanted to proceed towards the transition, realistically, pragmatically,
there was need for compromise.
Yes, there was. Otherwise, the guys who are suddenly become reluctant Democrats, may not have agreed.
And thank God for the compromise, because it has helped.
At this point, Marco
protect it.
You see, that's why we would depart. But I'm not saying, it hasn't had any effect, except that I hear the same old argument against party politics and multi-partism. And that's why you thought you hadn't taken part in it, but you had. But Mamiri, the second variant, was a further variant, wanted party politics limited to the election of the president only. Then listen to this one. Third one, there was also the view that the present decentralization program with the establishment of the district assembly is not incompatible with any type of system we decide to adopt, be it non-party, one party, or multi-party. The options should therefore remain open.
So therefore, even at that time, they wanted the assemblies to be partisan.
Yes, but when it shows that, so in moving forward into the future, and we are 26, 27 years along the line, this third variant here, one what two way. May read it here.
That is where we reach now.
That is where we have reached now. And that is why we are having the debate we are having. That's why we are going to...
Because society is progressive.
Exactly.
That's why we shouldn't use populism in advocating no.
but
Yes,
that's a position that has been taken.
About my stand, I'll come. I will end with what I on the referendum, and I'll end with that. But I wanted us to get
on Saturday. You hadn't taken a position. Is it? Have you firmed up?
No, Saturday I did take a position. The people didn't listen carefully. My position was for my call prematurely, and I don't want to ejaculate.
This is all premature ejaculation.
When it was said the options should therefore remain open. At that point in time, we all went for the one, which is a compromise. 27 years on, as human beings, as political animals, as a nation.
But that time, there was so much tension in this country.
Look, honestly,
so much tension.
That compromise was good.
People were working out.
I said at that point in time,
it's still good.
I didn't say it was good forever and ever.
Still good.
Don't misread me.
It is still working in Canada and in more advanced jurisdiction, Mr. Baako.
I respect.
Sammy, please. Sammy,
but there are also other jurisdictions where parties take part.
Exactly.
So
Canada, non-partisan.
There are many countries in this world. Political parties take part in the local governance elections. You know that.
But there are also many advanced democracies.
That's why I respect your right to believe, say, this first variant
will work for us.
Will work for us forever and ever. I don't believe so. And that was the point I was making about that stealing analogy. They say legal prohibition. They prohibited. I don't think the prohibition, in my candid opinion, and based on the third one, really shows said was casting iron to stay forever and ever. And see, I am not surprised that 26 years down the line, in fact, even before these processes, the Constitutional Review Commission itself came up. And many of the things they also said, in fact, government white paper, you rejected them. They asked for Parliament to be given the opportunity at the time that it deems fit to allow district executives to be elected on partisan basis. The Parliament should formulate their modalities. Government rejected it in the white paper.
The white paper
the whole thing didn't even start today. We are a dynamic society. We are a people who have a history and will continue being here for a very, very long time. And that is why what we are going through today is happening. Eventually, determination is based on law. It's in a referendum. It's in a parliament, so the outcome will give us a guiding post for another long period. Who knows? That's a different matter. But I'm trying to establish, says our argument against political parties and making a caricature.
No, against political parties' involvement in local governance.
Yeah, but in so doing, you paint a character of political parties. It appears they are inherently negative.
No. That is very unfair. We talk about partisanship. We have not said that the existence of political parties is a problem.
I wonder whether
extreme partisanship.
Well, now you see.
That is what we have always said.
Multi-partism necessarily comes with partisanship.
Extreme.
Fairly. Extreme.
There is multi-partism in the US, but I'm not sure people lose their jobs in the US because of partisanship.
Extreme. Maybe I would prefer crude politicization of issues. It's not exactly partisanship. It's just crudity of our partisanship, the way you people do it. Or concede here and there. But for me, that and yet the inherent character of multi-partism. I reject that. And it's a dangerous theory.
Yeah, I have.
It's such a dangerous theory. And indeed, that's why some is saying that you might as well then dissolve your NDC.
No.
We might as well then.
I have very many. Sammy, can you allow him to make the point, please? Respectfully, allow him to make the point.
Everybody is reinforcing the case, yes. And you reinforce the case.
Yeah.
Bring all sorts.
That's why I'm itching to bring another perspective.
I haven't finished. Perspectives are P. But I know I can't canvas all here.
Yeah.
And that is why the referendum no is supposed to be preceded by some stakeholder engagement, public education, arguments like we are doing here. When there are healthy arguments, I cannot sit here and think that I can impose my opinion or views on the other side. It's not possible. Otherwise, referendum. Parliament vote to text. It's an indicator that one side cannot just get up and do those amendments. They made the constitution in such a way. When the parliament talk, now, why I'm worried is they make the NDC for look. There are other people out there advocating for no, who are not party people, whether MPP or NDC, and some of them make some of the arguments the NDC people are making.
Something like the House of Cheese.
It's healthy.
House of Cheese.
Yes.
Are they part of the no?
Yes.
And I mean.
And then I
for the NDC MPP for NSA program.
So this one is an overkill. See, that's my problem. There's an attempt to actually build up a setting. There's an overkill. And that overkill,
I said it in jest,
was there in the beginning. We fought against it and arrived at a certain compromise. I didn't think that compromise was supposed to be static, cast in iron forever and ever. No society is grown that way. It's a then what do stage be? People will start asking questions. People will start asking that, look, let's reform, let's review, let's revise. And then because a constitutional rule, you can only do it through law, according to law. And in this case, constitutional prescribed methodology in our approach. But it's a mimetic. Said the same old arguments. No, we'll recycle, and especially when it's to attack the core of political parties. I said, my goodness, did we go or did we come? Am I for learning any lessons? Party politics were the difficulties. Multipartism were the challenges. But none of these things can convince me, say, they are not worth being given room to operate also at the local level. None. Uti in some work was you, but what the bus canon more corruption about because the parties must look for more money. What?
We didn't say about more corruption. I said about increasing the cost of running for elections, about introduce monetizing. So two separate points.
But in there, there's a corruption element.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I was saying. So you have already reinforced what I'm saying.
Yes, it's part of that.
Yes, and that I read in Yamanami read here. It was captured in this. My brother, parties is here. Then they are all virtually damn corrupt. When these two parties, especially the major ones, even the small ones, were a mobilization. These major ones, look, Alote, War Coalition will raise not less than 100 and 150 million United States dollars. Where did they get that money from? And they are saying that, oh, adding a little bit more to it will kill us. That's all they are saying. That's all they are saying. I'm not working today. Meaning baby when you was can if but what penna work do so walk how could be say
or party dues.
And any case approach is sleeping. Was it CCR where common platform, yes sir. That's one even though mark today the law has been reviewed kakra. There utum also candidates nankasa sutum mount war first not to them. No strictly
the EC gives them a common platform.
What happened? Can't we agree that area now the state still finances, can be retained?
We can.
Yes, even now the political parties in Poi watch some state support. Tell them that this party vehicles. Some TV
party nomination forms on buying a bit.
No, maybe me say there's no platform. I mentioned platform.
Transportation.
I mentioned transportation.
Bazo.
Hey, Nana,
go. Nana,
Samiti. Makwaku making a point. Makaka won't yes. Okoba Konoaba is 11
These political parties, they exist at the constituency level. Me very good at that. But sometimes you people can educate me or give me sufficient information. Beyond constituency level, check more exist also.
Yeah. That is the branch.
Yeah, we are the branch level.
So you are already out there.
Yes, at the electoral areas. We have executives here.
We have primaries.
Yes, yes.
We don't do primaries.
We have to say
no. Yeah, elections. Oh, yeah, branch elections. Oh, yeah, police station executive elections.
Yes.
So more executives.
Elections, but primaries is to select candidates for particular.
Yeah, it's elections.
We have elections.
Yes. I think Kweku was referring to elections.
Yes, but still, if he even added, say, we all those things already.
Yes.
More the capability.
Yes.
Yes. You need some
but party CPP need PNC need PPP. You don't have to do it.
It might, for all you know,
if you
this
cannot,
situation might even help.
You can present 275 pieces, 7,000 assembly members. Now beat my filing.
They can concentrate like I do my position, which is why I'm a bit of an outlaw relative to the party's mandates. I say, you don't go filing for 275. A party in the state in which we have to be strategic. You say that, look, I identify 50 areas where I have the potential to make an impact, and then you go for that. Even presidential election, me behind him is part of why I was suspended and all that. Don't go for presidential, don't overstretch your resources. So the smaller parties, in this case, can decide that, look here, we will focus on district A, B, C, D, local level A, B, C, D, and make sure we get a presence in the assemblies as well. So yes, it can help the local.
Can I come in now? Yeah, can I? I will need 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Now, I wanted to make a few points.
No. Especially Sami.
$10 seconds.
We the NDC MPP people.
Yes.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.